All right, check, check. Mic check. All right, good. We are going to mute until we're closer to game time here. All right, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to round 6 of season 9 of SRL. It is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix today at Baku. Quite a few new drivers on the grid today. The Alfa Romeo team, typically fully Italian with Simone Mara and Nicolo Falzaresi today. Reserves stepping in, both first-time racers this year, out of Spain. Noah Rosso Abia, Pablo Baz. Jenson Randall now a full-time driver with Aston Martin. He and Alexei Koivuniemi seemingly going to be favorites. George Wilkes, Luke Smith also going to be racing today. And we'll immediately get into Jenson Randall in the Aston Martin green. It is Baku. Last year, the podium, Logan Oren, Freya Balai, Jesper Limpinen, all racing again today. Certainly going to be looking to repeat that. No Simone Mara today. So based on recent form, you imagine Jenson Randall going to be up there, Logan Oren going to be up there. Third place feels a bit more open. Freya Balai with some podium finishes, Koivuniemi with some podium finishes. But again, lots of new drivers, first-time drivers this season, as you see through the castle section. The Drivers' Championship leader in the Constructor Championship car. That's Jenson Randall in the Aston Martin. A nice 16-driver grid today. Of course, Baku can be a little tight, a little constricted, some slow corners. So these curbs going to be costly, mistakes going to reverberate through your entire lap. As Jenson hits really the only truly flat out straight section of the track at the end there. As you see on the other side of the fence, the lead up to the castle section. And here we are, Jenson about to start his first lap of the qualifying session. He comes in around turn 1, maximizing track width nicely there. A short straight before turn 2. And then this, a DRS zone. The longest straight section until the last sector. Sharp 90-degree here into turn 3. Coming around turn 4, then you want to get outside again because turn 5 coming up very quickly. A left-hander, then a quick right-hander. And now you see the straight on the other side of Jenson here as he makes the very sharp turn 7 where you can take quite a bit of that curb, cut quite a bit of that corner. And this is the make or break zone. The castle section just gets right up against that wall nicely. There you got to be careful about track limits. Even though you have plenty of road, you do need to stay within the white line. And then one of the trickiest braking sections right here as we get into turn 15. Downhill braking zone. That curb can really disrupt the car. As Jenson comes around. Purple sectors you see, but he is only the second or third driver out there on his lap. And from here it's flat out. During a race you might stay towards the right side. In qualifying trim you're going to want to stay usually towards the left. As you see there, hugging that left wall. And a 1:46.9 for Jenson Randall. Certainly some improvements possible. Some drivers earlier speaking about some 139s. As he airs from here, it looks like an invalidation going to dive into the pits. Jesper Limpinen going to finish up his lap here in the AlphaTauri. Looks to be somewhere between Jenson and Max, and yes indeed, A fine lap from Jesper, 141.7. And we'll go to first-time driver this year, George Wilkes. In the Haas, teammates with Logan Orend. Always one of the more interesting sections to see how drivers approach it, the castle section coming up here. There you go. George taking quite a bit of that curve as you're able to. And then you want to be aggressive here. Well done. And the exit here. Don't want to invalidate. Gets close, but doesn't. It's well done there from George Wilkes. Come around turn 15. Loses the back end a little bit. And it's so easy to do there. It's kind of a blind apex as you go downhill. You lose traction through the turn. Certainly cost him at least a couple tenths. But plenty of time to improve. It looks like he's going to be about in the 142 range, perhaps. 142.9. And we'll go to the young sensation this year, Jamie Jagerstrom, in the Williams. Going to get the tires up to temperature here. Meanwhile, Sandro Dulis into P2 in qualifying here, a 141.6, just ahead of Limpinen. Freya Belai, the 141.9, finishing P2 last year at the Baku City Circuit. And Jagerstrom going to be flat out here. Going to be lined up to the right side in preparation for turn 1. And we'll see what he can do. DRS closing into turn 1. Perhaps could have carried a bit more speed there, but it's such a long lap. You don't want to be too aggressive. As I'll have, looks like a Haas in front of him that's going to need to make room, most likely. It's going to be difficult to do here, as it's close quarters. Around him goes Jagerstrom. Going to get back towards the right side of the wall for turn 5. A purple sector 1 for Jagerstrom. Well done. A bit of oversteer there, but does well to control it. And now we enter the castle section. So easy to get wrong. Oh, and wrong it does indeed get. Jagerstrom just completely misses either the braking point. But unfortunately for him, that will likely be the end of his qualifying session. What a good lap he had been on, too. The purple sector 1. And Jagerstrom's going to have some work to do now into the race. Meanwhile, first-time driver for this season. This is Pablo Baz, the Spaniard. Setting a 146.5 earlier. Teammates with Noel Rosso Abia, a fully Spanish Alfa Romeo team today. And the red Pirelli's looking good on the Alfa here. We'll see what Baz can do. A less catastrophic entry than the one we saw previously. He'll come around hard to line this up. Difficult braking zone, but well done there. Appears that Baz was able to get through that with no contact to the wall. Of course, earlier in the F1 season, we saw Checo Perez make plenty of contact to good effect here at Baku. Comes around looking to improve on that 146. Should be an easy thing to do. Another driver about in that 142 range. Yes, indeed. So good time for the Spaniard. Check in with his teammate on his own outlap. But actually, we'll go to last year's winner, Logan Orand, who I believe just set a purple sector 2. It's going to be the first time he's got on the table. We'll see if anyone can touch Jenson Randall. That's always the game. It's going to be close. Oh, and close it was. About half a tenth behind Jenson for Logan Orand on his first attempt, 147. And the only other driver currently running a lap with nothing on the board, Vincenzo Torre. A 142.8 for Vincenzo. Not a lot of representatives from Italy, but Torre's still here. We'll go back to Abia here, as he's about to start his first timed lap. And he's off. We go into turn 1. Conservative exit there. Not going to risk any contact with the wall. Coming around in that straight between turns 2 and 3, that is a DRS zone. Tidy into turn 3. And Abia about to approach one of the more technical sectors on the calendar. A little bit of curb there to disrupt the car. You see it bounce. Into the castle section. I believe that's perhaps a tire still from Jerstrom's incident. In through the castle. No incidents whatsoever to speak of. Want to be clean on the exit here. No danger of invalidation. Abia comes around another DRS zone. The Aston Martin making way in front of him. Down turn 15, no issue. Right up against that wall. And not the last turn of the circuit, but the last one that you actually need to brake for. It's flat out from here. So Abia will be getting his first time on the table here shortly. Looks like it should be another about 142 perhaps. Yes, indeed. And that's about as good a consistency as you can get with your teammate. Only 7 thousandths between him and Pablo Baz. Check in with Sandro, who's almost 2 seconds slower on that first sector. Losing a bit of time here, but I think well positioned. Only 3 drivers in the 140 range. He's one of them. So won't be an improvement. Perhaps dipping into the pit lane here. And George Wilkes looks like a cool down lap for him. We'll go to a man on the outlap, Vincenzo Torre, looking to improve. But you see Vincenzo Torre there getting the tires up to temperature. The runner-up to last year's Rookie of the Year. Veteran of a couple dozen races at this point in SRL. Meanwhile, Jensen Randall improving on what was already a pole position time, the 1:42. Lots of clean air in front of Vincenzo Torre, assuming the pit lane stays a little less active, but as we get to about 2 minutes remaining, you imagine plenty of folks going to be coming out here shortly, trying to get one last time in. And indeed down there, I believe that's Christian Dorman making his way out. Looks like an AlphaTauri of Jesper Limpinen making his way out too. But Vincenzo Torre, this will be the last timed attempt he'll have. And just a tenth for Vincenzo Torre, a couple tenths, would get him in much better positioning here on the grid. Certainly looking for an improvement over the Alfa Romeos of Abia and Baz. As he comes in here, avoiding that curb. We saw the curb causing some cars earlier to jump into the castle section. Not wanting to risk the curb there at turn 7. Through the castle, no incidents. Want to watch for no invalidation here. Doesn't get one, but does get a little moment there. You see the back end coming loose. And into turn 15 here. Nice and tidy. Last braking zone, a purple sector 2 there for Vincenzo Torre. Well done. So you would imagine an improvement here from Vincenzo. It's going to be one of the last, certainly the last time for him. And indeed, quite the improvement from P10 to P6 for Vincenzo Torre, just ahead of Christian Dorman, and about 4 tenths behind Freya Belay. Well done for him. Finding it when it matters, using that track evolution. Meanwhile, Logan Oren in Sector 2, just about even with where he was before. Going to need to find almost half a tenth to really threaten for that pole position from Jensen Randall. But perhaps also going to want to fend off any improvements from Sandro Dulys. Dulys running behind him, just entering Sector 2 himself. Logan coming around, about to finish up Sector 2, so we'll see a nice split here. Not what you want to see. So it looks like Logan Oren, the final time will be a 1:47.55. We'll go to the man chasing him, who improved in Sector 2. And I think vitally improved by enough to overtake Logan Oren in the qualifying standings. Quite an improvement there in Sector 2 for Sandro Dulys. And it looks like Sandro feeling the city circuits, the wizard perhaps, similar to Checo. And he'll come in a 1:44. What an improvement for Sandro Dulys. Well done there. And I believe that'll be his best qualifying session of the season so far. So last year's podium, Logan Oren, Freya Balai, Jesper Limpinen. They did finish in the same order relative to each other, but it's Logan Oren 3rd, Freya Balai 6, Jesper Limpinen in 8. So a fantastic lap there in crunch time for Sandro Dulis. There you see it. And we'll get underway here shortly in Baku. Jenson Randall and Sandro Dulis. And do you imagine Logan Oren going to have the benefit of being ahead of what can be a hectic first lap here? We've seen plenty of first lap fireworks in SRL this season already. But as you saw with the young Danish driver earlier, even without traffic, this circuit can be punishing. Certainly, you would think a higher chance for a safety car, maybe even a red flag in this race than we've seen previously. If someone gets sideways in that castle section, it's going to be very hard for anyone else to pass. Simulation damage, if it's your first time, it's 50% length. So frequently it's one or two stop strategy, but again, with safety cars, who knows how many we'll see today. And we usually have drivers on a variety of strategies. For those at the top of the table, it seems like Jenson Randall frequently likes to extend the first stint. Logan Oren tends to be a little more aggressive on that first stint. And we'll take a look at the tires during formation lap. And there you see it. No soft tires today. Medium tire runners, Sandro Dulis, and then nothing until P6. Freya Balai, Jesper Limpinen, Vincenzo Torre, and then Jägerström. Jägerström, a talented driver who should do well on the medium tires to make up a lot of positions lost during that unfortunate incident during qualifying. But an unusual direct race between Jenson Randall and Logan Oren. I feel as if they're almost always on different tire strategies. Meanwhile, Max Mulder, welcome back to SRL, and P4 there. "26 laps around Baku. And if there was a heat map, this would be bright white. The castle section. That is where the action is going to be. Meanwhile, this is a DRS zone we're in right now. This is more or less a straight. But positioning so important going into turn 15 here. I don't know how many passes we'll see. It is really here after turn 16 that your straight line speed is going to come into play. At the back of the grid there, you see not just Jägerström in P12, but Alexei Koivuniemi looking to make a lot of overtakes, I imagine. Koivuniemi, quite a few podium finishes this year already. Has done well to get his team, Aston Martin, at the top of the constructors' table. And the drivers will get in position here for the start of the Baku Street Circuit Azerbaijan Grand Prix. getting the tires up to speed here. And if it's your first time spectating an F1 23 race, don't worry about any disqualifications you see as we start here. We're on board, Jensen Randall, for this start. Here we go. The lights are on. 5 red lights, and they're off. We are racing here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, round 6 of SRL. Logan Orr going to the outside. A quick move, but gives up a little positioning. It's Hunter Dulis looking to get into P2. He does have the tire advantage. And a little lockup, or perhaps just some lag spikes, as Jensen Randall already with a over a second interval lead. As the drivers up front maintaining position there. You see Freya Belay getting right on the diffuser of Max Mulder here early. The Haas, the AlphaTauri behind them. Meanwhile, Jerstrom already making his way up in P10. Same with Koivuniemi, P12. And more lockups as we get into the castle section. We'll see what happens here. A very crowded field so far. Everyone looking to get through there. No incidents whatsoever. So that's 1 of 26 laps to the castle section down without incident. Meanwhile, Max Mulder here trying to fend off Freya Belay. Into turn 16 here. We'll get on the straight. And it looks like Ivan Brito, unfortunately, going into turn 15, it's so easy to lose downforce. And I'm going to believe he hit the wall there. The curb may be unsettling the car, and the Mercedes is out here in the first lap. It is going to be a safety car early on. In turn 15, not where you might have expected it. But I mentioned earlier during qualifying, one of the most difficult braking zones we're going to see on the calendar this year. And Jensen Randall catching up to the safety car now. So unfortunate for the Portuguese driver. I'm sure we'll have onboards later during highlights to see exactly what happened, but I'm going to guess just cold tires, full tank of fuel. Perhaps that braking zone changed. Brito wasn't quite ready for it. It's a downhill corner. You lose downforce as you go into it. And there's a wall right there. We saw many drivers earlier in the year making contact with that bit of the wall around Baku. You see the crowd here at Baku going crazy. No one's ever been more excited for a safety car lap than the virtual citizens of Baku here in Azerbaijan. You look at the position changes. I mentioned Koivuniemi seemed to be moving up on the medium compound, up 3 into P12. Sandro Dulis, a medium runner, unfortunately not able to maintain position against Logan Orand. Meanwhile, in the Alfa Romeo, first-time driver this year, that's Pablo Baz, up into P8 over Vincenzo Torre. Jerstrom into P10 himself. Starting to look perhaps a little overcast here as well. Start to wonder what would a little bit of rain do to what already looks to be a chaotic race. As we'll get another safety car lap after Ivan Brito was not able to get through turn 15. Koivuniemi going into pit lane. Wonder what the strategy there is for him. Of course, he'll be able to catch up to the queue pretty easily. As he comes out, medium compound. I don't blame Alexei going to the softer compound. I think if you're a driver, you're banking on another safety car. Drivers like Jensen Rando and Logan Orend, highly skilled, going to be in front of the pack. I don't think they'll be involved in any incidents. But of course, a safety car, you have great benefit pitting under a safety car. And if you're on a softer compound, even better. Koivuniemi already with both compounds required being used. He can run softer the whole race. As we finish up Sector 2 of Lap 3. No full lap of racing yet here at Baku. As we approach turn 15 where the Mercedes had to retire. Safety car in this lap, so it's going to be Jensen Randall telling us when we restart. You see Jensen giving the safety car plenty of space up there. As we come around the corner, we're on following Sandro Dulis, the Greek driver. It's going to be a key restart here. And looks like we are back to full throttle. Jensen Randall up there. Logan Orend behind him. Sandro Dulis on the medium tires. And we'll try this again into turn 1 here. You see the Alpine of Max Mulder darting side to side there. And that is an overtake for Sandro Dulis on turn 1. Simple as you like. That was almost too easy. On a turn that normally requires quite a bit of maximizing track limits. So well done from Sandro Dulis on the medium compound. As we go back into the field a little bit, the Alfa Romeo of Pablo Baz. And it looks like Max Mulder in the Alpine now. It's drivable. I don't see too much wing damage, if any. So not sure what happened. It will not be a safety car. The yellow flag has been put back down by the stewards. Meanwhile, Dion Stahl on the Ferrari. What a great look here as we go into the castle section. Nothing doing there. That is the Williams of Christian Dorman in front of him. As we get into turn 15 again here. Everyone getting through without incident this time. Cold tires again. Maybe a little bit of contact there from Max Mulder on the walls, but nothing debilitating to the car. Maybe just a bit of tire degradation as this game usually handles that sort of contact. It's been a race with no DRS yet. Safety car lap 1. And we'll ignore the purple laps at this point. We'll go closer to the middle of the pack here. How about the Red Bull? That is, of course, Luke Smith, the Australian driver. On the medium compound tires, and everyone, all the tire compounds you see there, kind of mixed and matched. Certainly some overtake opportunities, maybe some defense offered by the hard runners. And it is looking more and more overcast to my eyes. And that would be quite a monkey wrench into the race if we have a bit of moisture. Smith here looking to make up a little bit of time on Pablo Baz. Right now they're in the middle of the field. A nice shot there. Oh, a little bit wide. Oh boy. And a little overcorrection there. So again, it looks like no damage to the car itself, but maybe a bit of degradation to the tires. And that gives Christian Dorman a chance to get in DRS range as that starts to become a factor here coming into the next lap. And we'll check in with part of the grid up front. And now it looks like another incident. Was that a Williams in turn 1? Was it Jägerström? No, it wasn't Jägerström. Not a Williams, but it looks like it was the Red Bull of Noah Smith, as he drops quite a bit. And now it looks like he's going to pass the Williams of Christian Dorman, who you see going in reverse back there. Piers went into the overrun area of turn 3, and boy, if we do get any rain, it's going to be quite a race from here. And if you're Jenson Randall, Logan Orend, why not get onto the medium compound as soon as you're able? Meanwhile, Freya Belay had made quite a few position changes to get up into 3rd. Sandro Dulis falling down into P9. There's more action than we're able to keep up with here so far at Baku. I'm sure the race highlights compiled with onboard cameras will help clarify what's going on. But at least some space here, some safety for Freya Belay, Limpinen, Jägerström, and Pablo Baz, as you see a second or two between each driver. Meanwhile, Logan Orend, during all that, made the move on Jenson Randall, so it's now Logan Orend in first place. And is it a little strategy here for these two up front? I wouldn't put it past them to work together, get ahead of the chaos. Extend your tires for as long as you can. I think these two might have the feeling that it is a race for them to decide who wins. No Simone Amara. And we have another safety car. It is a VSC. So there will be a delta that our drivers have to maintain. And American lag spikes there perhaps for Logan Orend. He joked about having a drink this morning. It's bright and early here in the States. I assume it was just a joke. VSC is over and DRS enabled. And boy, that can really catch some people out the way that VSC ended. Looked like Jenson Randall had a look there briefly, but that is a hard overtaking area. And now we go into the straight. We'll see if Jenson Randall is content to stay in second. With DRS enabled, he is going to have it here. Not a huge DRS zone. We're about to hit it right now. And a Sector 3 yellow flag. It looks like all the cars on the minimap are moving. Jenson Randall going to get that change done. He is now in first place. So a nice cup of coffee there for Logan Orend. A lap in first, a VSC during that stint. But Jenson Randall back up in front. Meanwhile, Pablo Baz into the pit lane. Another DRS zone there. You see Logan Orend taking a look. But that's all it's going to be this time, is a look. These two swapping positions the last few laps, using that DRS. Going to have 2.5 seconds on Freya Balai's Jensen Randall. And not bad for two of the only 3 runners on the hard compound tire right now, the third being George Wilkes in P10. Into the castle section we go for these two, nice and clean. Meanwhile, we'll see how Dion Stahl's doing, as this is the tightest interval of the race currently, just 2 tenths behind Vincenzo Torre. And Dion Stahl able to get the overtake there, the unconventional overtaking zone of turn 7, just before the castle section. Well done for him. Not a lot of space to get that move done, but he did. And the Ferrari's running P7, P8. Dulise and Stahl do work together quite nicely when they find themselves next to each other on the grid. Going wide back there was George Wilkes. We've seen quite a few go wide there on turn 16. Meanwhile, back at the top, Jensen Randall still up ahead. But we have another safety car. It was, I believe, Noah Smith. Just before the castle section. Car no longer there. Right around turn 19 on that straight. On the opposite side of the straight between 6 and 7 before the castle. And again, the onboards after the fact going to do a lot of work elucidating the full story of the race. So now, if you're Jensen Randall and Logan Orand, now do you dip into the pits? It seems like you'll have ample opportunity to make this a 2-stop if you wanted to go to the medium compound. Of course, the drivers behind them on tires just as old as Jesper Limpinen. The drivers have done so well avoiding speeding through the pit lane. That's the first one we've seen in a few races, I believe. So we'll see what Jensen Randall and Logan Orand do. The medium runners, it feels like, under even more pressure, perhaps, to change. Nice shot there through turn 16. Jensen Randall in the Aston Martin full time now. Logan Orand, of course, in the Haas. George Wilkes in the Haas with him this weekend. And it certainly looks like Jensen Randall at least perhaps faking, giving the idea of a pit stop, and he will indeed go in. Logan Orand right behind him. Freya Balai going to follow suit. Jesper Limpinen, it's going to be... So he just got the speeding through the pit lane penalty. He's going to dip in again. It's unfortunate for him, and it looks like many of our drivers using this safety car opportunity. So, Koivuniemi coming in, and it certainly looks like just about everyone picking this time. And why wouldn't you? Some drivers, of course, on newer compounds, Pablo Bazar in P9, no need to come in. But might be unfortunate for Pablo Baz, not going to be able to make up any positions despite coming in a lap earlier. So the grid largely unchanged, if not perfectly unchanged, with somebody pitting under the safety car. You see there, Rosso Abia on the oldest set of tires there, 3 laps in for him. Countryman and teammate Pablo Baz 2 laps himself. Christian Dorman 3 laps in P13. And I like it. Jägerström and Koivuniemi really going for it here. Soft compound. Why wouldn't you? This is the second safety car. We're 10 laps in. There was also a VSC. So Jägerström, Koivuniemi getting a little bit aggressive here, rolling the dice, assuming that they will have an opportunity for a more or less free pit stop on the soft compound tire. And we've seen that from Jägerström all season. Really just taking the gamble, and they've worked off for him so well. Koivuniemi, also a masterful tactician, it seems, out here in races. Solidly consistent throughout the race, and then at the end somehow seems to find himself getting into the podium. Quite a few candidates for what should be a very competitive podium finish today. Jensen Randall and Logan Ornd, I think, always going to be two of the favorites. But Jägerström, Belay, Koivuniemi, Dulis, all drivers with podium finishes already this year. And of course, Jesper Limpinen finishing on the podium last year at Baku. Safety car continues on lap 19. We're approaching the halfway point. Get clarification on the incidents that led to these. We haven't caught too many on camera. It's been an action-packed race so far. Perhaps one or two we can attribute to a water valve cover coming loose. I'm not sure. Luckily, security shifts here haven't ended at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, so fans still able to stay in the grandstands. Has the feeling of the safety car coming in at the end of this lap. I've been wrong before. And if it does, we'll go to Jensen Randall's on board. Yes, indeed. So Jensen Randall going to be in control of when we get restarted. So you see Logan Ornd in the rear view mirrors there, warming the tires up, getting ready. You see the flashing yellow lights on the wheel there for Jensen. And there he is. We are racing again here at Baku. Lap 12 about to start. And we'll see how many we get through this time unscathed. It is now Freya Belay in P3. A great restart for him. Meanwhile, Koivuniemi, Jägerström on the soft compounds. We'll see what they can do. We'll check in with Dion Stahl. Looks like we're 3 wide here as we head into turn 3. Max Mulder in the Alpine giving away there, looking inside. Dion Stahl and Limpinen respecting each other's space there well. As they come around past turn 6 into turn 7, it's going to be the castle section, which rather uneventful so far. It's not been the real place of consternation during the race, despite the qualifying incident for Jägerström. Jägerström has done very well despite not being able to complete the qualifying session. Currently in P4. Meanwhile, George Wilkes getting some overtakes done here into the DRS zone of Sector 2. Splitting the Spaniards in the Alfa Romeos. Looking at Pablo Bas in front of him. No DRS yet on the restart. So George Wilkes looking to join Logan Oren in the Haas for some points. Meanwhile, Vincenzo Torre allows Pablo Bas to pass kind of easily, it seems. And then the same for George Wilkes. So not sure if there's damage to Vincenzo Torres' Mercedes. But those looked like rather pedestrian overtakes for the Alfa and the Haas. And now, suddenly, it's Pablo Bas and George Wilkes with the moves after the restart, both on the medium compound. As we get in here again, turns 5 and 6. Positioning going to be important. The Haas going to have the outside line coming around here. Tucks in behind. And we'll go back. Dion Stahl a little slow. Jesper Limpinen. Looks like a bit of oversteer facing the wrong direction there on turns 5 and 6. They'll restart. Dion Stahl giving the position back, it looks like, to Jesper. So all the worry about the castle section, it's usually the areas just before and just after. As we go back into the race leaders camera here at purple sector 3 form. A nice shot there. You see the top 5 all within DRS range of each other. Jensen Randall, Logan Oren, Freya Belay, Jamie Yearstrom, Alexei Koivuniemi. And there you go. You would expect it, a purple sector 2. And a fastest lap there for Jensen Randall. Meanwhile, it's Yearstrom on the soft compound. Koivuniemi on the same, looking to make moves here. We'll follow them. Freya Belay on the hard compound tires. In front of him, Jensen and Logan on the medium. So there should be quite a bit of action here in the top third of the grid. And the bad luck continues for Jesper here with the pit lane penalties. Nice and tidy through the castle section for all of the top 5 here. Into turn 15. A number of incidents here. The integrity of that wall on the exit of turn 15 being tested. Meanwhile, Logan Oren keeping that interval at 3/10 or below to Jensen Randall. Into the DRS zone. Yes, it's open now. Logan's going to get it. He's going to take the inside. Gets back to the outside. That is an overtake for Logan Oren. Back into P1. Let's hope this lap goes better for him than the last time he led a lap. VSC, last time Logan Oren overtook Jensen Randall in that section. And it seemed like Jensen had the better restart, better positioning when the VSC was over. Meanwhile, Yearstrom threatening Freya Belay there again. Tire compound difference between the two. And the sun has come back out in Baku. It looks like no threat of rain now. Cloudy skies earlier. Orange through turns 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 in quick succession here. And it seems like top 5 stabilizing a little bit here. These intervals slightly increasing, no one taking any major chances or risks here. As we get into the DRS zone, Jägerström, I believe, best positioned for an overtake on Freya Belai. It's flat out here, but DRS does not activate until quite a ways in. There's the detection zone, and it's only about here DRS activates, so might be a little too tight for Jägerström to find the move on Belai, but it's going to be applying pressure. Meanwhile, Koivuniemi dropping a couple seconds behind Jägerström. Not sure what happened there. Meanwhile, you saw George Wilkes left the session. I believe that means it's going to be AI controlling the Haas from here. So, you see strange decisions being made in the Haas. Now you know. We'll go up to Pablo Baz, who is right here behind Vincenzo Torre. So Pablo Baz doing well his first race of the season with SRL in the Alfa Romeo. Been highlighting his racing quite a bit. Seems like a lot of interesting things happening around him, but nothing that is affecting the races. That's what you like to see. Torre able to extend that gap a little bit to Pablo Baz. He's going to want to make up a little bit of ground here after turn 16 to get in that DRS detection. Make sure he maintains a second. He's doing well. 7/10 now. Meanwhile, Jenson Randall 1:44.3 on the medium compound, new fastest lap. Still about 6/10 behind Logan Oren. We'll check in with him shortly. Once we see, there it is, DRS activated for Baz. Might be a big interval to make up by turn 1. He's not going to. But surely more action there later. Meanwhile, Jenson Randall. I feel like it's, tire management we see from Jenson quite a bit at this point in the race, kind of in that 60-70% of the way into the race. I feel like Jenson always hangs back, manages the tire, manages the fuel load. Not uncommon to see him in second place at this point in a race. This will be a good view as we go into a tricky part of the course. And no issues there for the 17th time around for Jenson Randall. The gap increasing to Freya Belai now, and also Koivuniemi there, you see 4 seconds behind Jägerström now. So a couple laps after the most recent restart, Logan Orr and Jenson Randall yet again finding themselves pulling away. And the race has calmed down a bit here. You see a few drivers not able to finish, opening up a little bit of space here. Gaps increasing Jägerström. And Koivuniemi dipping into the pits. Hunter Dulise going to get into P5 rather easily. Meanwhile, Jägerström again threatening Freya Belai. Hard compound in front, soft compound behind. We'll check the age of the tires. You see it could be Jägerström starting to feel the age of those soft compounds. Freya Belai, you imagine, perfectly all right on 8 laps. The red light flashing for Belai. He's been defending. Yestrom's been able to let that ERS charge. Some management perhaps from Yestrom himself here. But Koivuniemi determined the soft compound was done on the last lap. We'll see what Yestrom thinks. And if Yestrom does pit here on this lap, we'll see if the undercut is on for Koivuniemi. Similar strategies for both soft compounds during the last safety car. But now it's Dion Stahl, it looks like at turn 7, and this is perhaps the perfect situation. So a heartbreaker there for Koivuniemi pitting just before the safety lap. Meanwhile, Yestrom, the strategy of going for the soft compound and then waiting, it looks like it's going to pay off perfectly. So again, the aggressive strategy from Yestrom paying off week after week. It seems like he takes the gamble and it pays off for him. So you hate to see it if you're Koivuniemi. And Yestrom continuing the aggressive streak. He's on the soft compound. Freya Balai and Logan Oren also coming out on the soft compound. So now Koivuniemi is going to be, yes, in P6, but on older tires than all those in front of him except Max Mulder, who you imagine will be pitting at the end of this lap. And with safety car laps here, the soft compound should rather easily get to the completion of this race. So Logan Oren in front on the soft compound, Jensen Randall in second on the medium. Logan Oren's going to have the advantage for the next few laps, but Jensen Randall could easily make up that time depending on the tire degradation between the two compounds as we get into the finale. But at the same time, Jensen Randall is going to be under pressure from Freya Balai and Yestrom behind him on the soft compound. So, I keep saying it's been an action-packed race, and the finale only going to have more action. You see no white on the Pirellis out there. Everyone's gone something softer. So hard luck for Koivuniemi. I imagine he would have gone with the softs again if he had the knowledge that there would be a safety car coming. Meanwhile, the Danish driver Yestrom waiting one more lap than Koivuniemi, despite both being on soft compounds, gets the benefit of that safety car, and perfectly timed safety car, as he was in Sector 3. So everything going Yestrom's way here. Meanwhile, it is Abia and George Wilkes looking to catch up to the queue, so we'll have at least one more lap of the safety car. Max Mulder in the Alpine staying out. With so many fresher tires right behind him, it's going to be hard to maintain that P5 position without a pit stop. And it is the third safety car of the day here at Baku. There was a VSC earlier. Some great tire management from Yestrom to really make up quite a few positions after going out in qualifying in the Castle section. As you see here, 8 positions gained. Koivuniemi, no qualifying time set himself, up 9 positions, but again, hard luck done in lap 19 when the safety car was called for. You see Logan Orend qualifying P3, making his way up, and Freya Belay finding himself in a podium position. Everyone caught up to the queue. You imagine safety car coming in this lap. I believe this will be the first safety car that Logan Orend's going to be restarting. The American driver in the team from the Americas, Haas. Jenson Randall right behind him, the now full-time driver for Aston Martin. Aston Martin looks to extend its Constructor Championship lead with this race. On board with Logan Orend. Hopefully the last restart necessary for today's race. Getting the tires up to speed. You see Jenson Randall on the left rear view mirror there. First hint he gets of Logan opening the throttle. There it is, right there. We are underway again at Baku for the 4th time. And immediately Jenson Randall taking that inside line. He's going to try for the pressure on turn 1. Logan goes wide but able to maintain position, but the exit may have been compromised. Comes here around turn 2. It is a DRS zone, but since there's a restart, no DRS yet. Only going to have a couple laps of DRS at this point. Freya Belay, you see, altering the line. Jägerström doing the same. And as we enter an area where we've seen quite a few cars facing the wrong direction, turns 5 and 6 here. Purple sector for Logan Orend. On the soft compound. Turn 7 here where you can cut quite a bit of the corner. Logan playing it safe. I don't blame him. Those tires may not be up to temperature. Into the castle section. And we hope to see everybody coming out on this side. A little wide there for Jenson Randall. That's likely at least one track limit, but not enough to have gotten the penalty yet. But that area of the track is considered to be not tarmac, so his tire is going to have a little debris on them. As Logan Orend opens up the interval now, a full second to Jenson Randall. And another purple sector for him. So Logan Orend turning it on here. He does have the tire advantage for now against Jenson Randall, so he's going to be making as big a gap as he can early on the restart. 1:42.9, that just demolishes the previous fastest lap. Meanwhile, Jägerström closing in on Freya Belay. He's been behind Freya Belay for the last few laps now, biding his time and waiting for the opportunity. As the top 4 continue to pull away from Koivuniemi and P5, Pablo Bas right behind him. And Jägerström around turn 3 here. Just waiting for the opportunity against Freya Belay, but Belay is not one to make mistakes. Meanwhile, the gap for Logan Orend, 1.4 seconds, and continuing to increase as we get into a part of the course where grip is everything. Jägerström, that incident during qualifying where he hit that EA Sports part of the wall there, gets through it just fine here. Coming around and then the tricky turn 15 where we've seen quite a few incidents too. Difficult braking zone, downhill. No issues there, no contact with the wall. Meanwhile, Logan Orend maintaining that gap of about 1.4 seconds to Jenson Randall. In a couple laps, Jenson Randall may have the tire advantage. He's on the medium compound. Logan on soft. They changed at lap 19 during the safety car. And how about a new fastest lap for Logan Ornd? Another 142.9. This one better by a few hundredths. DRS is enabled here. Jenson Randall will not have DRS, but importantly, crucially, Freya Belai behind him will. That'll help Freya Belai as he tries to fend off the Danish driver, Jamie Jerstrom. DRS you see there, activated. And a fantastic restart for Logan Ornd to open that gap, get out of the DRS range of Jenson Randall. And he'll be hoping that Freya Belai and Jerstrom want to engage with Jenson here. But Jenson Randall, he is a champion for a reason here at SRL. He makes all the right decisions late in a race, including perhaps getting that medium compound tire at lap 19. Now Freya Belai falling out of DRS range of Jenson Randall. So now Jerstrom really going to be applying the pressure. DRS detection still some ways away. It'll be just on the opposite side of the track from turn 6. But it looks like Jenson Randall for sure no DRS, and Freya Belai perhaps no DRS either. Jerstrom solidly within DRS of Freya Belai, and Freya Belai, you see the flashing light, the ERS depleted. Jerstrom coming in, wing down, smelling blood in the water perhaps. Looks inside briefly, down to 3/10. Meanwhile, behind Sandro Dulis up into P6, Pablo Bas falling a couple spots into P8. So the gaps continue between Jenson Randall and Freya Belai, and now Jerstrom really on that rear wing of Freya Belai, and a little incident there. I believe the back end just coming loose for Freya Belai, and Jerstrom looking to bounce on that. Going to be an awkward entry into turns 5 and 6, but Jerstrom gets the overtake done. Well done. Good patience from the Danish driver. Just waited and waited and waited, applying that pressure in Freya Belai. A bit of oversteer. And now with just 2.5 laps left, it looks like Jerstrom on his way to a podium finish. Well done for him. Meanwhile, Logan Ornd, it's almost 2 seconds to Jenson Randall. Jerstrom, 3.6 behind Jenson. The battle with Freya Belai will do that. But well done for him. Very aggressive on the tire strategies. Quite a few overtakes for him today. Into the wall during qualifying, unable to set a qualifying lap time. Meanwhile, we'll go to Christian Dorman. It looks like I'm too late as he retires from the session. Not sure what happened. Max Mulder going to come up around where Dorman, right here it was, at turn 19. And if you're Logan Ornd, you're grateful that that is not a safety car or even a VSC. You maintained your 2-second gap. Meanwhile, Abia, the Spaniard for Alfa Romeo, looking at Vincenzo Torre now. As we get into lap 25 here, we'll of course follow Logan Ornd or whoever the race leader might be for the final lap. But it looks like both Spaniards going to finish in the points in their first race of the season for Alfa Romeo. Maybe a little bit of contact there for Abia. It's going to make it more difficult to catch up to Vincenzo Torre, and in fact a second behind now. We'll go up to Logan Ornd. He comes around turn 16. 1.5 seconds on Jenson Randall. Looks like the tire strategy going to work out. Jenson Randall been out of DRS range. Not going to be able to easily recharge ERS. So not sure how much of an ERS advantage Jensen might have. And even with that, a second is quite a bit of ground to make up, especially against a driver of Logan Oren's caliber. We are in the final lap here at Baku. Quite a few restarts necessary, safety cars, VSCs, yellow flags. Multiple pit stop day. Jensen Randall, Logan Oren going with a different strategy on the last safety car on lap 19. Logan Oren with the soft compound. Able to get the interval wide very quickly on the restart. And Logan Oren looks like he might repeat last year's win in Baku. Turns 5 and 6 here into the castle section. And we've seen incidents from talented drivers here already. Meanwhile, Jensen Randall has gotten it down to 8/10 on the interval. And there are one DRS zone. So Jensen Randall not going to let Logan Oren just run away with it here on the last lap. As that gap continues to decrease. We're going into turn 15 here. This is a difficult one. Any mistake, Jensen Randall can easily make up some time, as he gets about a 10th there. Logan Oren, the last breaking point. It is full out from here into 17, 18, 19, and 20. The American 6/10 interval here on the soft compound tire. The ERS flashing for both, but it looks like Logan Oren, the American driver, last year's winner of the Baku Azerbaijan Grand Prix, is going to do it again. Right behind him, Jensen Randall. Well done for Logan Oren. Jägerström, a fantastic race strategy today to finish P3 after no qualifying time set. Freya Bly P4, Koivuniemi 5, Sandro Dulis, the Greek driver, going to finish in 6th. Vincenzo Torre, who I feel like every week is involved in some of the most interesting, exciting battles with other drivers, in P7. And the first-time drivers of the year, that is Pablo Baz and Noel Rosso Abia in the Alfa Romeo, P8 and P9 points finishes for them. So well done. And Max Mulder going to cross the finish line to complete the grid here. But what a race. You look at the position changes, 9 gained for Jamie Jägerström, 10 for Koivuniemi. But it is Logan Oren, the American, returning to the top of the podium, dethroning Jensen Randall for one of the first times this year from that P1 spot. And Jägerström with a fantastic finish himself. There you go. Logan Oren, P1 there, celebrating. Jägerström, P3. Great race for him. So more points for the Aston Martin team. They'll be maintaining the lead at the top of the constructors' table. Meanwhile, Logan Oren, with Simona Mara not racing this week, jumps into P2 of the driver's standings. And Jägerström, a very strong finish. I imagine that'll get him into P6 ahead of Freya Bly. Jägerström's first podium of the season. Well done for the drivers today. That will do it for round 6 of SRL here at Azerbaijan. The next round, round 7, is going to be the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We'll see you then. Thanks so much for dealing with my cough and my voice. We'll see you next time.